So, tena tektena bhunchidaha. We are trying to understand that profound statement, renounce and rejoice. So, when there is renunciation, there is an immediate relief for all of us. Immediate relief. Because the desires are like pins. In acupuncture, they put pins on your back. And then it gives you some pain. When you remove the pins, then there is some relief. So these desires are like maggots, constantly bothering you, clinging attachments. When you take it out, you feel very much relieved. So he says the immediate relief comes. There's a lot of space in you then. Suppose you are planning to go on a vacation, you are not able to go, you don't get the leave, you don't have the money, and children are busy, and your husband is not well, and then you are already planned it, you want to go and you cannot go, and then you are so much suffering, and then you are irritable, you are angry, and then suddenly you decide, I am not going. What a relief, you say. What a relief. Then you can plan properly things. Understand? Under that stress, you cannot plan anything properly. Whatever you do will be under stress. We call it a reaction, a pattern of predictable reactions because of the clinging attachment. When that goes, then you can act properly. So, when you renounce, there is immediate relief. Not only you have immediate relief, then you are able to enjoy your spiritual nature. That's the true meaning of bhunchida. Then you are able to enjoy your spiritual bliss. When you don't give any value to the material pleasures, when they are there, you enjoy it. Upanishad doesn't want you to run away from it. But when you enjoy the world as a spiritual person, then that enjoyment is much more profound, you say. So in a state of detachment, your spiritual nature awakens and manifests. So there bhunchidaha means enjoy your spiritual nature. Enjoy that inner peace. And you are very much relaxed. And then when you are relaxed, the world will be rolling at your feet. That's what the rishis say. When you are relaxed, everybody will be rolling at your feet. Everybody will be with you. Because you don't want to possess. When you want to possess, then you will be dispossessed. That's a law. When you don't want to possess, you will be given everything. Nature will be your servant. Patanjali says, nature will be your servant. All the diamonds in the world at your feet, he says. When you don't look for it, they will be at your feet. Time just flies. You have no, because when you look for something, then time never moves. Haven't you experienced when you wait for somebody? Oh, that person is coming and I love him and I want to be with him and I will do this. It's 10 o'clock, he has not yet come, he is supposed to come at 10:05. 10 o'clock, another 5 minutes, you cannot tolerate. And you are waiting, and 10 o'clock, then 10:05, 10:15, 20, 11 o'clock. It's a very painful experience. Then afterward when he comes, you shout at him, you are too late. Where were you all this time? And then you shout at him, you scream at him, he also shouts at you. There's a big quarrel and fight, then you say, I am leaving. the whole thing is messed up. So here he says, you are very calm and quiet. When you are calm and quiet, you are not only able to enjoy inner quietude, you are able to enjoy the spiritual bliss, you are also able to enjoy the world to its fullest hilt. You are able to enjoy everything in the world. That's the meaning of tena tektena bhunchidaha. Therefore renounce and rejoice. And rejoice has got these three dimensions. You can rejoice in your own spiritual fullness. You can enjoy that inner space, leisure, space and leisure. And you can also enjoy the world, whatever is available in the world you can enjoy. That's one meaning of Tektena Bhunjida, these two words. That's one meaning. Tektena Bhunjida. The second meaning is Tena Tektena Bhunjidaha. So we have already said God lives and envelops, enlivens and envelops everything. He is the absolute owner of everything. And since He is the absolute owner of everything, whatever He gives you, that alone should you enjoy. Tena means by that Isha, by that power. Tena Tektena. Whatever He chooses in His infinite wisdom to give you, to throw at you, Tektena, to share with you, that alone is your share. That alone should you enjoy. And how do I know what God has given me? Whatever comes unasked for. You don't ask. Without asking comes. I mean, in the modern world it's very difficult. Here you have to ask. Then alone you get. Ask and you shall be given. Knock and the door will be open. And seek and you shall reach. The same Christ has said otherwise also. Yet thy will be done. You see, if you become a lazy person, yet thy will be done. Lazy person, then he says seek. That is not the road to laziness. You should be alert. So whatever God in His infinite wisdom has granted you, given you, whatever comes to you unasked for, so do your duty to the best of your ability. And whatever comes out of it, that alone is your share. It's a spiritual wisdom. It may not be the material wisdom. You do your duty happily. And there is no demand. There is no demand. Especially people close to you. People with whom your husband, your children, your relations, your wife, your spouse, etc. Because those are relationships you cannot avoid. I mean, there will be always some wife. One you may change, but you will get another. You cannot avoid them. Some relationship is always there. So how do you manage this? You do your duty, and whatever comes from them, happily accept only that. Never put any demand. Very painful situation. Never put any demand. And both of you follow that principle. It's a very enjoyable experience. You never put any. This is not only for one person. Everybody should follow this. I just do my duty, and whatever comes as my share, I take it. That's the definition of love, isn't it? Love means I do everything for you. I don't care what you give it to me. The very opportunity to give you itself is an experience of joy for me. That's the meaning of love. When I say I love God, I do everything, and whatever comes next. If I get nothing, still I am happy. A mother's attitude to the baby. Mother does everything to the baby. What does the baby give? Only a smile, some blabbering, and sleepless nights. What else the baby give? Nothing. The mother is so joyous, so happy. I remember a mother, she had a retarded child. She had 3 children, one retarded child. Then I suggested, why do you, she has to carry the child all the time, and then he cannot attend to the other children, to her husband and all that, to herself. Why don't you give away the child to some care homes where they will take the child? She said, no, I may give away all my 3 other children, but not this child. This child needs my care, and I will dedicate my life for that child. That's the kind of emotion I am talking about. It may not be seen here nowadays, but it is available, it is possible. Mother doesn't want to give away the child because there is a great joy in doing it. And whatever comes as a result, and that life is a very fulfilling life. Very fulfilling life, very lasting life, very deep emotional satisfaction you get out of it. Otherwise life will be boring. We say life is boring because of this. We have not touched that emotional depth. We don't know how to work without expectation. That's why life has become miserable. So whatever God gives, that's the meaning of God giving. Otherwise, how do we know what God gives us? God doesn't send any letter, here I am giving you this. Whatever comes to you unasked for is what God planned for you. That's the definition of whatever God gives. Whatever comes to you unasked for, comes to you by the way. That's what God has intended for you. And the moment you put a demand, then God steps aside. Anyway, you ask for it and you get it. In ashrams, we never ask for donation. We never say, okay, this is a 2 weekend course, give us $250. We never say in the ashram. Here we say, but not in the ashram. Because we know if you ask for 250, you get only that. Nothing more. If you say just to teach, just to give endlessly. Give as much as you have and as much as you can. And the more you give, the more you get. So don't put any fixed amount. Then you will give yourself totally. That's the secret. When you don't ask for anything, then you get everything. If you ask for, but don't have that agenda in your mind. I will not ask for anything, then I will get anything and everything. When you don't ask for anything, then you get everything. Where do you get it? From your own inner recesses. So whatever God gives you, accept it. What will happen maximum? We may die, that's it. Anyway, we are going to die. So death is not a problem for a spiritual person. What can happen? Maximum that may happen. Maximum you may not eat for 2-3 days. That's all what will happen. It's good for your health. So he says, live a life like that, a spiritual life. There's a lot of joy. There's a lot of deep emotional satisfaction. And we all are craving for emotional satisfaction, not other satisfaction. So, tena tektena bhunjita, renounce whatever God has given you, accept it, and then enjoy. Celebrate what God. Bhunjidaha means enjoy it, not that miserably, oh God has given me only this is my fate, I don't know what to do. No. Celebratory mood. Find a meaning, find a message in it. We always say when your little baby sits with you and kicks you with his tiny leg, there is pain actually, but you are enjoying it, isn't it? All the nutrients I am giving is showing off. Baby is kicking you. You enjoy it. But somebody else does the same thing to you, you are not going to enjoy it. So when there is love, everything is okay. There is always enjoyment. Tena tektena bhunjita, renounce and rejoice. That's the second meaning. And the third meaning is this understanding that God pervades everything, God lives in everything. That understanding itself is renunciation. Then you discover you have nothing to renounce. Do you have anything to renounce now? You have nothing to renounce. To renounce means you must have something. I cannot renounce this. I say, okay, take it away. Because this is not mine. This is Jagannath's. I cannot say take it away. Take it away means, okay, you take it home. I cannot say that. Because this does not belong to me. So when I have this understanding that everything belongs to God, then I realize I have nothing to possess, nothing to renounce also. That is the renunciation in terms of knowledge. I hope it's clear. Because there is nothing to renounce for me, because everything belongs to God. It's something like when you are coming to the temple, you pluck a flower from your neighbor's garden, a flower, and go and give it to God. That flower belongs to somebody, you are giving it to God. Same way, I suddenly realize I am dispossessed. I am dispossessed. You see, in the story of Krishna, you find Krishna goes to steal butter from the gopis. The gopis, their main occupation is making butter. The cow herd, they milk the cows, ferment the milk, and then churn it, make some curd, sell it, they themselves eat. That's how they live. That's their livelihood. So they have gathered the butter in the earthen pots and hang the pot from the ceiling, so that cat and all will not go and eat and lick the butter. That's very protected there. Now what Krishna does, he goes with these children when the gopis go to the river or the field, and then they one upon another they climb on and then take the butter and eat all the butter, and they're celebrating. When the gopis come back, they see this horrible sight. Krishna has eaten all the butter. And they shout and scream, and then Krishna eats earth sometime. Then Yashoda comes and asks, did you eat earth? Yes. The fresh earth, when the first rain comes, there is a very bewitching smell, fragrance. So you eat. Did you eat earth? Krishna says no. Gopis ask, did you eat the butter? Krishna says no. Because did you eat my butter, my that's their question. Did you drink my milk? That's the question. Krishna says no. The thing is that why he says no? Because everything belongs to him. Everything belongs to Krishna. You have no claim over that. So whenever he wants, whenever he feels, he will take the butter. The idea is that whatever he gives you, the God gives you, that alone you take. It may look very arbitrary, very authoritarian, very selfish and all that. But from a spiritual, cosmic standpoint, that is the truth. So suddenly you realize nothing belongs to me. Once I visited one of my devotees' apartment in Bombay. So because we come from Rishikesh, there are these small huts at that time. So he took me in his car and then stopped in front of a huge, I'm talking about long back it happened, huge multi-story building. I was surprised. This man is a clerk in a government office and he owns all this huge house. I thought the whole thing is his house. It's a big apartment, big multi-story, 11-story building, 300 rooms, 200 apartments. Then first I thought the whole thing belongs to him. I said, this is your house. I'm really baffled. He said, no Swamiji, this is not my house. I will take you to my house. So he took me to the 11th floor. That's a 20-story building. 11th floor. Went there by the elevator. That was a big experience for me. I never been to that. I have climbed the trees, but not the elevators. So it was a great surprise. Then I saw a row of apartments, rooms. I said, all this belongs to, the whole story belongs to you? No, not the whole story. It's only one apartment. Okay. Then he opened his room, his apartment. It's only one room with an attached bathroom because he's a bachelor, attached bathroom. And a small kitchenette and all that. So, only this is your apartment? Yes. The whole thing? Yes. Then I heard somebody, knocking, some knock from the top floor. Somebody is driving something or somebody is trying to hit something. Ask who is living there? Whose is this roof? This roof is not mine, that is the other person's floor. That's not mine. This also is not yours now. The roof has gone. Then I hear some noise from this side. Somebody is driving a nail on the wall. What about this? Oh, this is that man's wall. This is this man's wall. And what about his floor? That is somebody's roof. So finally what he has is only the space. Nothing else. Slowly, slowly, he realizes nothing belongs to me except the space. Space nobody can own. Space nobody can own. So he suddenly, and I got the realization, Isavasya sarvam. Everything is provided by God. So Isavasya sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagad tena tyaktena bhunchitaha. Therefore, in this understanding, nothing belongs to me. Live a very leisurely, very quiet life, he says. Everything belongs to God. When you have that knowledge, everything, this spiritual understanding. Legally you may own a few things. Legal owning is different from spiritual owning. Spiritual owning is a delusion. Legal owning is a practical way of dealing with life. So, tena tyaktena bhunjita. Therefore, renounce and rejoice. Renounce by this understanding. Now, what I mean is, you don't have to go home and throw out all your furniture listening this. That's not what is meant. You're only a trustee. You take care of them on behalf of that great power. That's attitude. That's the third meaning I can give you for this. Tena tyaktena bhunja. Actually, there are four meanings now. The first meaning is, don't cling on to anything, then you can enjoy the world. Renounce and rejoice, enjoy the world. Second meaning is, when you don't cling on to anything, you can manifest your spirit. Spiritual enjoyment is possible. Third meaning is, whatever God gives you, accept that. Fourth meaning is, with this understanding, no, you own nothing. You own nothing, including your body, is not owned by you. Tena tyaktena bhunchidha. Now the next piece of advice is, ma gridha kasyasvid dhanam. Gridha means greed or covetousness. Don't covet. Gridha. Ma gridha. Don't covet. Ma gridha. Ma can mean mother also in Sanskrit. Ma gridha. Gridhi means covet. Ma means not. Therefore, not covet. Don't be greedy. Ma gridha kasya sved. Kasya sved means anybody's. Anybody's. Dhanam means wealth. Kasya sved. So may you not covet anybody's wealth. So non-covetousness, one of the value prescribed by Patanjali, great value, non-covetousness. Should not covet anybody's wealth. That creates jealousy, violence. Somebody may be rich, somebody may be healthy, somebody may be beautiful, somebody may be famous. That should not affect your peace of mind. When somebody's photo comes in the newspaper, your appetite is lost. You feel very unhappy, upset. That's all because you compare yourself with another person. So no covetousness. Be happy with what God has given you. and be contented with that. There will be a lot of peace and happiness and energy as a result of that. So, ma gradha kasyasvit dhanam. It can also be a rhetorical question. Ma gradha, don't be covetous. For whose is wealth is this? Whose is this wealth? Whatever you see here, it all is his wealth. And what will you do with this wealth if there is no peace of mind, inner happiness? A king who had a big kingdom with him, he goes to the forest hunting and he lost his way. And he was wandering in the forest for 2-3 days. He was very thirsty, no water, very thirsty. Then somebody comes there with a little bit of tumbler of water. King says, get me that water. He says, no, I need water. Just as you need, I also need water. But I can give you half a glass of water. Half I'll take. But what will you give me in return? The king said, I can give you half of my kingdom. Half of his kingdom is gone just for that half glass of water. Then he drank that half glass of water. Then his thirst was not quenched. Then he said, give me the other half glass. The hunter said, can you give me the other half of the kingdom? He said, given. Dattam maya, given. So for one glass of water, he lost all his kingdom. For what use is this wealth, he says, unless you are a happy, contented person. So that's of higher value. So ma gridha kasyasvit dhanam. So two meanings. One, don't covet anybody's wealth, because that is not going to make you happy. On the contrary, you will be more unhappy comparing yourself with another person. Second meaning is, whose is this wealth? For what use is this wealth? All that you acquired, what is the use of this wealth? There is no use. Wealth means any value you give to external objects, forgetting your own self. When you forget your own self and give value to an external object, then it creates problem. Otherwise, there is no problem. Don't forget, then relate with the world. Everything will be beautiful and wonderful. In an ordinary language, I can say, happily go around and relate with the world, not for happiness. Not for happiness. If you go and relate with others for happiness, you will be positively unhappy. Because you are looking for happiness on the wrong place. So ma gridha kasyasvit dhanam. So kasyasvit dhanam. Dhanam is the next word. Dhanam means wealth. Kasyasvit dhanam. Isavasyamidam sarvam yat kinja jagatyam jagad tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kasyasvit dhanam. Is that clear? That sloga. Let us read it. Om Isavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagad tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kasyasvit dhanam. That's why in this country, all countries, politicians are very healthy, because they don't own anything. Businessmen are very unhealthy, all the time thinking of wealth. Politicians are bureaucrats are very unhealthy, because they have several things to do. Decisions are to be made. Politicians, they don't have to take any decision. Decisions are done by others. They only sign it. And if the problems come, they fire the bureaucrats. Oh, you took the decision, you are responsible for that. They are very, very healthy. In a different way, they are living this value. Everything belongs to the people. Nothing belongs to me. They know that. After 4 years, I will have to quit. I will have to go away. So everything belongs to the people. So here we are spiritualizing that concept. Everything belongs to God, and with that attitude, you continue to live. And the next mantra is very interesting. Let us read that. Kurvanneveha karmani jiji vishet chatagum samaha evam toyinanya dhedosti na karma lipyade nare. Now the Rishi comes down to your level, our ordinary level, and he says, with this attitude that everything belongs to God, attitude of renunciation, sharing, sacrifice, celebration, with that attitude, non-clinging, with that attitude, jiji vishet. Do you see that word? Jiji vishet. The Rishi says, jiji vishet. Jiji vishet means desire to live. Desire to live. With this attitude, you can desire to live. For how long? How long? Shatakum samaha. Shatam means 100 years. 100. Shatam means 100. Sama means years. If this be your attitude, then you can desire and possibly you can live for 100 years. Otherwise, by 45, all kind of problems will start. Backache, sugar, cancer, depression, all kind of problems can assail you, he says. With this attitude, you can live for 100 years. May you desire to live for 100 years. Jiji vishet shatagum sama. So you have to split that word there. Jiji vishet shatagum, that's split and written here. Shatagum, shatam means 100. Jiji vishet shatagum samaha. Samaha means autumns or years, 100 years, 100 seasons. You can live with this attitude. Very healthy. Very healthy. You can live for 100 years. Jiji vishet shatagum samaha. But while you are living with this attitude, you also have to kurvan eva iha karmani. Iha means in this world. Karmani kurvan. Performing, kurvan, performing all your karmaha duties. Performing all your duties. You have an escape from that. Do all your duties. Surrender everything to the Lord. And then desire to live for 100 years. Kurvan. Kurvan means performing or doing. Iha means here. Eva means indeed. Indeed performing all your duties. Because duties are imposed on you. Certain duties are expected from you. Perform all of them. Kurvan eva. Eva means indeed. Iha karmani. Jiji vishet. May you desire. So that again the Gita's message of Karma Yoga is from here. Do your duty. Don't bother about the outcome. Don't bother about the personal reward. Personal reward should not be your motivation. Then you perform all the duties. Then who will get the reward? Who will get it? Let anybody take it. Let anybody take it. And if anybody takes it, what will happen to me? Don't bother. Don't worry. Your needs will be taken care of. Your joy is in doing it, he says. I don't know whether it's very difficult to convey this message in this culture. That your joy is in doing, not in enjoying the reward. Your joy is in doing the work, not in enjoying the reward. Like a painter. When a painter paints his wonderful masterpiece, his joy is in doing it, not in selling and getting some money out of it. No painter has ever got any money from his painting. It's only when they die, somebody gives some value to it. Van Gogh died poor. He didn't get any money, but he went on painting, wonderful paintings, or a musician or a singer. So the joy of just doing a job which you enjoy doing is far, far superior than getting the reward and indulging in those results. That joy we don't understand it. So he says, Kurvanna eva iha karmani jijivishet chatagum samah. May you try to live for 100 years. Then time, you will not know the time. From this attitude, time goes, time disappears. Time is when you expect, isn't it? When does time appear? Time manifests when there is expectation. When you expect for somebody, time comes. When you don't expect, there is no time. So time is a mental phenomena born out of expectation. When there is an expectation, then there is no time. That's 100 years. 100 years just go like that. Because there is no time. You go beyond time. Jivishet chadagum sama. That's why when you just go for a walk, you enjoy it. But if you have to reach somewhere at a particular time, you get a heart attack. I'm not reaching there. When will I reach there? So time simply disappears, and your whole life is a totally different experience altogether. So kurvanneveha karmani jijivishet chadagum samah. Now I'm happy to see some books are coming now in the field of management also, talking about this concept. That chick sent me high, he has written a book called The Flow Experience. That's the name of the book. He's a psychologist. The flow experience. Work itself can be a great joyous experience, not the reward or the outcome, the flow experience. That's a creative man's work. He's a very creative person. But when you are employed by somebody, most of us are employed by somebody, then work becomes a little boring. Because he tells you what to do and all that. But if you are doing out of your own joy, then there is no pressure at all. You are not an employee, you are your own master. You work your own. So you can become your own master when you work out of your inner joy. Kurvanneveha karmani. Even if you are employed by somebody, work as a master, not as an employee. Work as a master. And that is what they call an intelligent organization. Everybody works as a master. Everybody works as an owner in that place. So that gives you a lot of joy. Kurvanneveha karmani jijivishet chadagum samah. Now the Rishi says, thus evam, the first word evam, thus na karma lipyade nare. Thus karma, your activities, na lipyade, does not taint nare, the human being. This is the only way to remain untainted by your work. Na karma lipyade nare. Na lipyade, it's a very interesting concept. Na lipyade. Na lipyade means doesn't taint. Doesn't taint. work doesn't taint you. How does work taint you? You all are working. Stress, anxiety, irritation, tiredness, boredom, lack of progress, routine, chore. This is how work taint you. So over a period of time, you find you are not happy with the work. Then you move somewhere else. And then since a new environment, new situation, new people, they don't know you, you don't know them, so you are happy. Sometime, to exchange ideas and all that. And after 3 months, again you are the same situation. So he said, Swami, pray for me, I must move to the new job. Then I said, generally I don't pray, but since you are my good friend, I'll pray. I pray and then you got a new job. Another again 3 weeks back, again telephone, pray for me. For what? I want to move from this job also. So this way you want to keep moving from job to job. That's the tainting. You feel as though you are soiled with the work. While you are walking on the road in a sunny, sweaty day, you are completely sweaty and soiled. You don't progress. So that way work becomes always like a milestone around you. That's a tainting. Then irritation, anger, suppression, everything comes. Finally, stress. So to avoid that, that's the method. Work, don't bother about. When you don't bother about, you will definitely get the result. Who else will get the result? You can do better. You can enjoy the whole thing. So, this is the philosophy which America has to learn, which we have not learned, because we have created wealth but at enormous human cost. Human cost is enormous at this. So we have to learn this, how to enjoy your wealth, how to enjoy the very creation of wealth and share it. Then you can share it. Otherwise you won't share it because creation of wealth is a very unpleasant experience. So you want to possess it. And by the time you cannot enjoy it also because you are old and decrepit. You cannot enjoy your wealth also. You cannot share it. Neither sharing, like the dog in the manger as they say. You cannot share it, you don't enjoy it, you don't know what to do with it. So, kurvanneveha karmani jijivishet chadagum sama. Evam thus, na karma lipyade nare. Karma does not taint you. Work does not taint you. Otherwise, work will definitely taint you. Work will definitely create pain for you. Na karma lipyade nare. Nare means human beings. Human beings are not affected by the dust of karma. Karmic dust won't pollute his mind or pollute the stream of his life. Otherwise, karma, the life of karma leaves a lot of pollutants into the stream of our life. That's why we are polluted. There's no joy. With this attitude, you immediately clean up your mind. There's no pollutants coming. Na karma lipyade nare. And the Rishi says, okay, is there any other method of remaining free from stress and pollution that comes from work? Is there any other method? Maybe I can do some pranayama, maybe I can do some tablets, or I can go on a vacation, or any other method. No other method, he says. There is no other method to live free from the pollution that is caused by the karma activities, especially organized activity, especially when you work for somebody. There is no other method. That's what he said here. Toyi, for you, in you. Na anyadha idaha asti panda. Idaha anyadha, other than this. Idaha anyadha. Itaha means other, anyada means than. Than this, there is no other path. Na pantha. Pantha means na itaha anyada Nasti pantha. There is no pantha is not there, but I am adding that word. Pantha means path. No other path other than this. So let me break those words. Evam na karma lipyade nare. Thus, you can remain free from the pollution of activities. And toyi for you, toyi, toyi. For you, itaha. Itaha. Do you see that word itaha there? Itaha. Please look into the meaning, English meaning. There you find itaha. Itaha. Anyatha. Anyatha. Itaha. Other than this. Nasti. There is no other way other than this. No other technique is there. It is only an attitudinal change. Only an attitudinal change can help. No other technique can. Even all this sitting and meditation, this also are not going to help you. I have seen many people. We may do yoga, exercise, meditation, everything we do, but this attitude is not changed. Since the attitude is not changed, doesn't help. If you change the attitude, everything is helpful. If you don't change the attitude, it is not helpful. So that attitudinal change. What is attitudinal change? Everything belongs. It's spiritual experience. It's spiritual self-giving, not your individual effort. You may do all kind of effort. You may change your food style, you may change everything, and still you are the same miserable person. Earlier at least you looked well fed, now that also is gone. And still you are a miserable person. So he said this attitudinal change is very, very important. There is no other path. And I want to emphasize that. This change of attitude is very, very. What is attitude? Everything belongs to him. I work for him. I don't care what happens to the outcome. Outcome let anybody share. My joy is in the very doing my work. The rest are not important for me. And everybody should do that to a higher cause. Evam toina anyatha itaha asti pantha na karma lipyade nare. So that karma do not touch you, cannot affect you. So in this state of mind, work become a means of self-expression. Let me put it that way. Work a means of self-expression. Not self-aggrandizement. For an ordinary person, work is a means of self-aggrandizement. He wants to project himself, he wants to control others, want to dominate. That's what I mean aggrandizement and indulge. But for this person, work is a means of self-expression. The enormous energy that you have hidden and latent in you is manifested through your work. That's the joy that you get out of it. That's the Buddha's joy. That's the Socrates' joy. Socrates spent all his time in debating, in discussing vital, fundamental issues. He didn't get any payment for that. His wife used to say, what is the use? Every day you go to the market, discuss and come back, no payment. Well, who will put food on your table? Where is the money? So he says, Santipe, the money is not everything. She will not listen. She says, money is everything. She will scold him. And still he continued the joy of the Confucius, same thing. He spent his time in philosophical discussion. Nobody employed him. Nobody employed him. But he is not going to change his mind because he didn't get an employment job. He didn't change his philosophy because of that for an employment. So that way, one can live, work can become. So all that you do is a self-expression. You have so much to give, that's why you are working. Not that you have so much to take that you work, so much to give. So one has to discover that, and the joy out of that one can. Then everything will fall in place. Things won't fall in place, that's God's will. You take it that way. But why do you think things won't fall in place and create a situation? No, things will be all right. Don't think negatively, think positively. So, evam toinanyatha itahas na karma lipyade nare. Maybe vast majority of the people may not be able to reach this state. Only 30% of the people can reach that state. 70% will still be working for a reward, personal reward. But I am sure 30% of the people are sensitive, who reach that or cross that stage, they need this philosophy. They have to follow this philosophy of self. Work as a means of self-expression, not self-aggrandizement. You work happily, not for happiness. I'll tell you a secret. When I picked up a magazine from the aircraft, the flight, in the Northwest flight, there was one article in that Northwest magazine, aircraft magazine, how to be happy. And the main teaching is work as a happy person, not for happiness. I thought he borrowed that from me, but I have been saying it all the time. And then the same sentence there, work for, not for happiness, but as a happy person. Happiness is your nature. Work is a means of expressing it. So, evam toinanyatha itahasti pantha nakarma lipyade nare. Probably in a spiritual community, what you are trying to do is to create this atmosphere of selfless work or self-giving work. Because outside people may not share your value, so you feel little shaken. Nobody shares my value. Am I right? Maybe I am a fool. But if people share the value and you work together, it creates a community for you, and then in that environment you can cultivate this attitude. And once you realize the joy of this, you can move into any environment. Like learning swimming. You have to learn swimming in a protected environment. Once you are a master, you can go anywhere and swim. So a spiritual community means creating a community of shared values based on this. Work on that and understand the joy of that. Continuing, we'll read it once more. Kurvanneveha karmani jiji vishetchatagum samaha evam toinanyadhetosti na karma lipyade nare. So the Upanishad Rishi's idea is human beings can live for 128 years. 128, that's your lifespan. And a person who lives this value can live up to 128 years of age. Very healthy. Not a dilapidated, useless person. Very healthy. Kurvannevaiha karmani. Always active. An active life of creative contribution to the world. You can lead such a life and live for 128 years. Very young and very healthy. Provide just attitudinal change. It is possible. Of course, we can debate on that. Is this possible, and how can one do that? Practice it in your life, because this is something to be practiced. Practice it in your life, and how does it impact on you, your work life, the quality of your thoughts and your relationships, and the quality of your productivity, how productive you become as a result of all this. Now the Rishi says, if you fail to follow this path, the path which has been taught, Rishi says, you will have a very, very difficult future. Health-wise and all-wise. This knowledge, those who follow this knowledge, their life will be fruitful and successful. Those who don't follow this knowledge, they will have to live in a Surya Namate Loka, a world where there is no light at all, dark worlds. Your life will be very, very dark and dreary and miserable. So the Rishi is using that curse, a kind of a curse. Follow this path. If you don't follow, I have seen many people suffering as a result of this. Greedy people, violent people, lusty people. So follow this path and make your life a very joyous experience. So those who fail to follow this path due to many reasons, what will happen to them? First he draws a picture of a world. In that world he says, Te logaha, such worlds exist. What are those worlds? Asurya, where there is no light, no sun. The sun never visits that place. Sunless world. Asurya namate loga. There is no light at all. So would you like to go to that world? No, I don't want to go to that world. If you don't want to go to that world, follow this path, he says. It is not a curse, it is a warning, loving warning. So let's read this from the beginning. Om Purnamataha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Isavasyamidam sarvam.
Om Isavasyamidam sarvam.
Yatkincha jagatyam jagade.
Yatkincha jagatyam jagade.
Tena tyaktena bhunjidhaha.
Tena tyaktena bhunjitaha.
Magridha kasya svidhanam.
Magridha kasya svidhanam.
Kurvanneveha karmani.
Kurvanneveha karmani.
Jijivishet chadagum samaha.
Jijivishetchadagam samaha.
Evam toyi nanyadhedosti.
Evam tvayi nanyadhedosti.
Na karma lipyade nare.
Na karma lipyate nare.
Asurya namate lokaha.
Asurya namate lokaha.
Andhena tamasa vritaha.
Adhena tamasa vritaha.
Tanste pretyabhigachanti.
Tamste pretyabhigachanti.
Eke chatmahano janaha.
Eke chatmahano janaha.
So we have been discussing the spiritual attitude that one must cultivate while you are engaged in activities. One can live in this world for a long life for 100 years, provided you bring the right kind of attitude, the attitude of surrender to the Lord. You can say, I work for my own benefit, my reward. You can say I work for peace of mind. You can say I work for God. You can say I work for self-expression. I have so much in me. I want to share it. I want to give it. So when you work for self-exploration and self-expression, that is the way to explore your own potential, infinite energy. And that infinite energy is to be manifested through the kind of choices you make and the kind of work you do. So work, instead of a self-aggrandizing project, work become a self-explorative and self-giving a project. And the more you give, the more you will be given. That's the spiritual economics, the spiritual experience. The more you share, the more you will give. Because there is so much inside you. You are an ocean of energy, consciousness, bliss, etc. So having said that, thus you live for 100 years, 100 and 128 years. Live your full span of life. Otherwise, or else, the Rishi says, the Rishi is cautioning you. All of us, not only you, all of us. That otherwise, life will be a very difficult life. So simple idea is that you are not seeking happiness outside. You are seeking happiness within yourself. So happiness is something to be invoked. You have to invoke it. You have to tap it from within. That's a simple idea for an ordinary person, ordinary understanding. So what we are, the happiness, the energy, etc. Because happiness is energy, high energy. Some people say, oh, I don't want to be happy. I want to be just normal. Why should I be happy? So happiness is energy. When you are in a high state of energy, then I can say you are happy. That everybody wants. Everybody wants to be in a high state of energy. Because happy people have plenty of energy. And happy people have no energy for anything. So you may use the word happiness or energy. One word used in Sanskrit for happiness is sukham. Sukham. This can be broken into two words. Su. Su means plenty. Kham means in Sanskrit space. So sukha means abundant space. That's the meaning of happiness in Sanskrit. Abundant space. Space means accommodation. That's the definition of space. How do you define space? Space is that which accommodates everything without getting displaced. You cannot accommodate me where you are sitting unless you displace yourself. But space can accommodate. So ultimately, sukha means abundant accommodation or plenty of space. As an accommodative mode of consciousness is sukham. When you can tolerate, accommodate, include, understand, then you are a happy person. So our idea of happiness is, when you eat some sweet meat or some chocolate, you feel a rush of adrenaline into your system, then you feel you are happy. That's not the happiness we are talking about. We are talking about a happiness where you can accommodate, coexist, understand, live with, get along with whatever is happening in your life, within, around you. Then you are in a state of happiness. You see a meaning for everything. That's another way of putting it. Whatever happens in your life, there is a meaning. You go out and you slip and fall and break your leg, let us say. There is no reason for that to happen. You are comfortably sitting here. Then you went out and you can curse yourself for that, Or you can congratulate yourself. Oh, that means I have to take some rest. I have been rushing around. It is time for me to pause for a little. God is sending me a message. So there is some message in all that is happening in our life. That is another way of putting it accommodation. So there are many ways of understanding that. So sukha, which is the Sanskrit word for happiness, etymologically means abundant space. Then you are happy. Then you are a blissful person. Then you can touch your spirit. So that happiness has to be invoked. That word is very interesting. Invoke. Invoke your happiness. You have to bring it up. It has to froth from within yourself. So nobody is responsible for your happiness. That's what's being said here. You are squarely responsible. So happily go around, energetically go around. And when you decide to do that, it is there for you. If you decide not to be happy, then that's your privilege. That's your privilege, your choice. Now, okay, if I don't follow this method, what will happen? If I don't live a life of spiritual invocation, then what will happen? Trying to live in the material world, acquiring, possessing, aggrandizing, and controlling, and eking out a little bit of pleasure from this world, a life of pleasures. We always say in Vedanta, we are living like dogs. A dog sometimes gets a bone, especially in a drought area. They take these dry bones and they bite into the dry bone, and their mouth get cut because of the sharp bones, and the blood oozes from that, and the dog sucks that blood, and the dog says, "Ah, what a good bone." It is not coming from the bone, it is coming from itself. And the dog says, "Oh, I am happy." Similarly, we are seeking things in the world, indulging and thinking that we are happy, we are okay. That okay is not because of the bone, it is coming from within yourself. So once you understand that, the world is not important. Whether you have anything is okay for you. Any object is, you can be happy in the presence of any object. This does not mean you become an indisciplined person or anything is okay. So I told you that story of a young man, young major in the army. He drinks, but he is very good person. All good people drink, that's the problem, because they have a weakness. So his superior called him, "Young man, if you don't drink, you are such a good man, very intelligent, very capable. Within 3 years, you can become a brigadier. Now you are only a major in the army. If you have these good habits, you can become a brigadier." So this man says, "Sir, to become a brigadier, I have to stop drinking. Then I will become only a brigadier. When I drink, immediately, instantaneously, I become a general." So therefore, I don't want to become a brigadier. So you can always give explanation for your behavior in the name of Vedanta. "Oh, I am happy with any situation." That doesn't matter. It does matter. To invoke the spirit, you must have a very disciplined mind. A mind which is detached, I have already told you. Detached, and a mind which enjoys discrimination. Without that, you cannot live in the land of the pure spirit, of consciousness. You will live in the land of the animalistic instincts. It can give you some temporary pleasure and joys. So here the idea is Asurya namate loga. The Rishi questions us. He questions us that Asurya means sunless. Surya means sun. Asurya means sunless, without light. Sun represents light, warmth, life, etc. So there are logas. Loga means worlds. Logas. There are such worlds. In all religion they talk about these nether worlds, lower world. In Hinduism we talk about hell, naraka. Naraka is 7 narakas are there. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasadala, Talatala, Mahadala, Padala. 7 lower worlds. In Buddhism they have lower worlds. The world of the ghost, hungry ghost. World of the hungry ghost is you go there, food is there but you cannot touch it. Hungry, very hungry. When you see the food, more hunger, but you cannot touch it. Such worlds are there. Lower world, dark world. And such Asurya namate logaha. Those worlds which are called Asurya, dark, without light. They are andhena tamasa avradaha. They are avradaha, enveloped by darkness, tamas. Tamas means darkness, laziness, darkness. Andhena, dense darkness. You can imagine. Imagine a dense dungeon, darkness. Torture chambers. These Amish colonies, you find torture chambers. They put you into a very small well, a very deep well, without water. And then 1 chain in the neck, 2 chain on the hands, then the leg. And you have to remain there, no food. Stinking well. You remain there till you die. That's your destiny. So such logas exist. Asurya namate loga. And the suffering of a person whose desires are not fulfilled is worse than sitting in a dark torture chamber like that. The desires tortures you. Torture you in many ways. So you will be going to such logas. Sasurya nama te loga andhena tamasavrata. This world is dense with darkness. And this world can be compared to your body. Your body is supposed to be a dark, dreary, dungeon world. It's a small space for you to occupy. And it's filthy, it's a bag of filth. It's pain, bone. And we are identified with this body. And we say, I am this body. There is no value for this body. And we keep on saying, I am this body. Whereas you are that infinite consciousness. You are Shiva. This body is Shava. Shava means it's a piece of matter. There is nothing so laudable about this body. So this body itself can be called a torture chamber. In your youthful enthusiasm, we may not realize it. But when you become 60, 65, you start realizing it. Pain there, pain here. Every day there is some pain or other. Toothache, earache, headache, stomach ache, knee pain, arthritis. So then there is a melancholic parade of pain only, the body. And when you identify with it, you have no other dimension to life. It's a continuous pain. So to mind, full of pain. Many kind of thoughts, agitations, depressions, anger, jealousy, all these mental pain, intellectual confusions, many ideas. You are not able to sort them out. If you live in the world of the intellect alone, utter confusion. You read many books and you don't get any sleep also. It's intellectual, emotional, mental, physical, and the outside world. These are all limited, narrow world. Unless you ascend yourself to the higher plane, these are all painful. Once you ascend there, then deal with it. These are all delightful, he says. Then comes the real delight, because you are on a higher world and then dealing with it. So otherwise, body is very, very limited, very painful. Rogagrastam kalevaram, he says. Body is full of pain. Rogagrastam kalevaram. Body cannot escape from pain. If somebody says, no, you don't have to fall ill, that's a lie. We do fall ill. We will have many kinds of pain. So the only way to liberate ourselves is to say that I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am not my memories. So the mind-body memory complex, I am not. When you say it repeatedly, there is freedom from the body. Then you can use the body as an instrument. When I say that you are not happy, how can you say I am not the body? Only I have one body, then you are taking it away from me. So then what am I? If I am not the body, what am I? The Rishi says you are the blissful spirit. Body is only just a bubble that appears in the ocean of your consciousness. You are that blissful spirit. So Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Keep chanting that mantra. Chidananda, not now. You can go home and chant that mantra. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Because what you repeat about yourself, that you come to experience. That you are Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So when we say there are such logas, let's not say, oh, this is all after death. I may go to that loga. No, right now we are trapped in the limitation of the body because identification with the body. Have you seen drug addicts, some drug addicts? Have seen somebody brought me to his drug addicted son, saw me talk with him. Generally I don't talk with these people because they convince me the joy of taking drugs. Have you tried it? That is their first question. Then I say, I have not, and I don't intend to also. Then how can you talk with me? Unless you experience it. So one day a young man was brought to me, a drug addict, and he was given a chair, a very spacious armchair, but he was struggling to sit in a corner of that chair, trying himself to with much difficulty. Then I asked him, why are you struggling like that? Why don't you sit spacious? Why don't you sit comfortably? So he says, Swamiji, you don't know. I am sitting in a matchbox, he says. I am sitting in a matchbox. Because he thinks that he is sitting in a matchbox. Very limited space. In a matchbox you cannot sit. So he is trying to some or other fit himself, squeeze himself into the matchbox. Similarly, while he is sitting in this abundant chair, similarly we all are trying to fit into this matchbox of a body, thinking that I am in the body. Where the truth is, body is in consciousness. You are not in the body. Your body is in consciousness. It is like the space and a pot. You say space is in the pot, but I say pot is in the space. You say this space is in this house, but I say this house is in space. That is the kind of attitudinal change we require. So this dreary world the Rishi pictures here, paints here, is not somewhere out there for you to go and reach after death. It is right now here, in this body, in the mind, in our intellect, and in our memories, in our ego. We experience this limited, miserable experiences. So once you are out of it, then we are no more confined to it. So Surya namate loga andhena tamasavridaha. And such logas, what happens to you then? Tan pretya abhigacchandi Tan abhigacchandi, you go there. Abhigacchandi means you go there. You are pushed into that space. These are Rishis' attempt to demotivate you to and then take you to the spiritual pursuit. So you will abhigacchandi, you will definitely go there, he says. Abhigacchandi. Te, those people. Who are those people? Who do not live these values. Te abhigacchandi. Where tan, those world you will go. When? Pretya. Rishi says after death. When you leave this body, you will go to those lokas. So, pretya can mean pretya, that word, pretya. After death. Or it can also mean later. Later in your life, you will go to those lokas. A person who is living a valueless life, unethical life, will definitely reach that destination. So, pretya, te, those people, tan abhigacchandi. They reach those lokas. Yekecha atmahano janah. Who are those people? Ye, those. Yeke means those people. Atmahano janah. That's a very interesting phrase used by Rishi there. Atmahanaha janah. He uses atmahana. Atmahana means those suicidal people. Atmahano means suicidal people. Atmanam khnandi di atmahana. Atmanam khnandi. Destroy. One who destroy the self, his own self. By clinging onto the body, you forget, ignore and destroy the self. And when you ignore the self and cling on to the body, that state is called suicidal state. You are a suicide. It's almost suicide because you are hanging on to the body, forgetting the spirit or the self. So you are killed almost yourself. Your spirit is murdered or muffled in that process. The spirit is not realized. So we all are in that. If you follow that definition of suicide, we all are suiciding now. We all are suicidal people because we forget the self and attach to the body. On the tree of the body, we are hanging on the rope of desires. Desire is the rope, the noose around your neck. The body is the tree on the branch of which you have tied yourself, and you are hanging on these many desires. So desire is the bondage. Body is the one on which we are hanging on to. We are tied to by the desires. So atmahano janaha, those who are ignored and forgotten their self, they are called suicides. They after death go to these dark worlds. So in Vedanta, suicide is not encouraged. Where it is death by poison or by any other means, putting an end to your life is not encouraged. Suicide is, after suicide you go to these very bad world. And therefore they say, try to live your whole life. You may be unwell, doesn't matter. May be sick, doesn't matter, but continue to live. And only sannyasi is allowed to put an end to his life. That too by not eating. That's the way. You can withdraw food, decide not to eat food. A sannyasi can do that. And then the body will shrivel and emaciate, and finally you can kick the bucket. Don't you say that? He kicked his bucket because it shriveled the body. Like a ripe fruit falling from the tree, the body will just fall off. There will be no difficulty at all. So that's allowed. Consciously giving up food and leaving this body. That's permitted. Otherwise, if you die by a deliberate act of suicide, then we go to hell, not to heaven. So Surya namate logaha andhena tamasavrata tante pratyabhigachanti yakecha atmahano jana. So atmahana means one who destroys himself by attaching to the body. So what will I do with this body, sir, now? What will I do? He says, without any attachment, deal with the body. The body is to be taken as a instrument. Like the musician using a music instrument. He uses it to express his power, his musical skills, abilities. Just as a musician uses it, or an expert driver uses a car, or a horseman uses a horse to ride and reach his destination and enjoy the whole ride. Similarly, you can use this body. Now the problem is you are not riding. You are on the horse, agreed, but the horse is riding you. You are not reaching your destination. You are reaching the destination chosen by the horse. The horse is your master, not you, he says. So one has to reassert one's mastery. So asurya namate logaha andhena tamasavrada tanste pratyabhigachanti yakecha atmahano jana. So those who believe in a post-mortem life, they can say you go to different logas. The Upanishad allows that kind of interpretation. After death you go to many lower logas. You live there for some time and come back. It's a nice thought. Instead of saying after death what? See? Instead of saying that, after Bush what? After Kennedy what? After this what? After death what? Simple answer is, depending upon your good and bad deeds, you go to lower or the higher world. Higher world is comfortable, lower world is little painful. In all our Puranas, that is described. After the Mahabharata war, Dharmaputra, who is the icon of dharma, virtuousness, virtue, he was given a tour of hell, it seems. A tour of hell. Before he was taken to heaven, he was taken through hell. Stinging smell, heat, scorpions, rats, reptiles, crying, and all that. So he was taken, and people were being tortured in fire and cooked in or roasted in frying pans, and they were to embrace flaming pillars. These are the punishment. And some are buried till the neck, and some very vicious looking person brings a basket full of scorpions and put it on his head in heaven and in hell. These punishments, very, very harsh punishments are given. And then Dharmaputra saw all that. Then after that, he was taken to the hell. You may ask, why did Dharmaputra was taken? I hope you know who is Dharmaputra. Dharmaputra was a man who lived throughout his life a very virtuous life. Virtue means not telling a lie and not hurting another person. This is the meaning of virtue. Simple meaning. Not hurting and not lying. If you follow those two principles, then you are called a virtuous person. Dharmaputra never told a lie. He never hurt anybody. But still he was taken to the hell. So people are surprised. Why? Because Dharmaputra told a simple lie, very what you call a white lie. to his own guru. He told his guru, your son died. The son is no more. What he meant was, Shuttama Hadaha. What he had some other meaning. But Guru understood it wrongly. Because of that simple lie, innocent lie, Dharmavatra one day he had to spend in hell. Then he was taken to heaven. That's the idea. So whenever we make these kind of mistakes, then as a punishment, you go to hell, he says. Now if you ask me, have you seen hell? I don't remember. Nobody remembers. But then these are all insights. There may be such lokas. We don't know at all. And similarly, you can go to heaven too. Doing good deeds, you go to heaven. Or you can say there are levels of consciousness. When you tell a lie, don't you feel a kind of falling down into a lower world? Do you feel that? When you tell a lie, when you tell the truth, you feel certain elevation in consciousness. So these kind of thoughts and words causes these experiences, higher and the lower experiences. So there are people who are totally unethical, no conscience at all. They pulled out that switch of conscience. They can do anything. They don't feel anything. We call them animals. They are not human beings who has no sense of right and wrong and guilt of doing something wrong. If you are a human being, then you will feel that guilt, and that is called hell and heaven. When you feel that, there is a lowering of your consciousness. When you do good, there is a heightened experience of consciousness. Whatever way you put it, you can put it as a geographical location, a location outside you, hell and heaven, or you can say it's a state of consciousness within you. Whatever way you explain it, we have to account for good and bad deeds and what happens to that person. And the greatest good deed is to see God everywhere and organize your life accordingly and be kind to everybody and enjoy what you are doing. So let's read it once more. Asurya namate lokaha andhena tamasa vrutaha tante pretya bhigacchandi yeke chatmahano janaha. Now I would like to explain a little more on the word loka. Loka in Sanskrit means a field of experience. That's the meaning of loka, a field of experience. Loka can also mean light. Light. So when we say loka, it means either a field of experience which you enjoy or suffer. It can also mean light, your own consciousness. Consciousness also is called loka, meaning your consciousness can go up and down depending upon your deeds. Or you may fall into a higher or lower world. The word loka allows both those explanations because of the very root meaning. They either mean a field outside you go and experience, or it can mean fluctuation in your consciousness. So some people explain it in terms of fluctuating consciousness. Some people experience it fields of experience, the loka. So to tamas, the word tamas, which is you are very familiar with that word tamas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Tamas means inertia. We all are suffering from that inertia, especially after a good lunch. we feel little tamas. Tamas overpowers you. Your consciousness is overpowered by tamas. So people who allow tamas to overpower their consciousness, they will definitely go to a lower world. So it's one should be very careful not to fall asleep, not to make mistakes, not to be indifferent. One should be always active to overcome tamas, inertia. Inertia is something there. It constantly asserts in us. So to overcome that, one has to be active all the time. That's called rajas. You should be active all the time. Never give to inertia, especially daytime. Daytime one should be always active, he says. Night you may sleep. Daytime one should be active. That's the only way to remove tamas. Then by rajas. Having developed rajas also is the problem. You are all the time active, tired, exhausted. And you keep saying it also. So therefore, rajas is to be overcome by meditation, reflection. Which is the meaning of sattva? Reflectivity. So from tamas, move to rajas, activity. From rajas, move to sattva, reflectivity. From reflectivity, this also has to be overcome by meditation or realization. This is a state of bliss. So you have to go to 4 levels: inertia, activity, reflectivity, and realization. When you reach the state of realization, then one has transcended all the 3 other levels. So if you can fall into, till you reach here, this is a field of misery. But of course, reflectivity is better than activity, activity is better than inertia. That is true. But till you reach this state, there is always pain, effort, struggle, conflict. Everything is there. So, andhena tamasa vrataha, meaning people who are overwhelmed by inertia, dense inertia, inactivity, indolence, all this. So don't you do that when your child is simply lying down and sleeping. Go and do something. Go and bring that. You don't need it, but still you will say, go and bring that. What do you need that? Just bring it. Then you bring it, keep it there. Then keep it there. Then after some time you say, bring it from there. So you make the child to do something. In schools, when a teacher comes to the class, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. Teachers do that. In the jails, for no rhyme or reason, they keep them engaged. So activity is very, very important. But activity without reflection, again, is a dangerous situation. Some reflections. And reflection without realization is futile. You may keep on reflecting. What are you reflecting? Nothing to reflect. So realization is the ultimate goal post, ultimate destination. So one should see which level one is. Are you on the level of inertia? Are you on the level of activity or reflectivity? Or you will know that. If you look into yourself, we will know which level we are. So we are talking about this level now, tamas. Andhena tamasa vrata asurya namate loka. And in that state, you don't understand anything. You may read, you may listen, you may discuss, but nothing is understood. In that state, you may listen to a lecture, nothing will be. You may read a book, nothing is understood. So one has to see which level one is. It is in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he talks about 5 levels of mind. 5 levels of mind in which mind operates. One, of course, is the inertia level, very dull state. And Patanjali used the word mudha. Mudha. Mudha made. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja. Mudha made. Very dull state. Then he says, be mudha. Not only mudha, very, very dull state. Then you talk about chipta, disturbed state. The mudha, dull person is not disturbed. Oh, he is happily sitting there. No disturbance at all. He is simply sleeping. Whereas other person is not dull but very disturbed. He disturbs others also. Then Patanjali talks about niruddha. Niruddha means very quiet state. Quiet and alert state. Sometimes we enjoy that state of mind. Niruddha state of mind. We are not caught up in anything. We are very alert. That is a state we all need. And from niruddha you enjoy egagra, one-pointed mind. I am sure sometimes you enjoy that mind also. Very egagra, very one point. So mind operates in these levels. And when the mind is in a very dull state, mudha state, don't go to that person. He will not understand. That's what Christ says, don't throw pearl in front of swine. Not that one section of people are always mudha. No, we all can fall into that mudha state. So mudha, chipta, vichipta, ekagra, niruddha state. So you can explain this very psychologically. And death can mean from that state every moment we are dying. Death is a continuous state of flux. We are changing every moment. The person who came here yesterday is not the person sitting here today. That person is dead and gone. That's Buddha's great contribution. Every moment we are dying. But the one who dies every moment is the body-mind complex, not the spirit. The spirit cannot die. The body-mind complex continuously dies. And hence, so death can be understood as the constant momentariness of the body-mind complex, your thoughts. We are constant. Scientists also say that. Every 2 hours, 25% of the atoms from the body fly off. Can you imagine that? Every 2 hours, 25% of the atoms which constitute our body escape. Then that 25% of atoms are filled by the atoms emitted by the trees and its rocks and the stars and all those phenomena around us. So that way our body is a continuously flowing stream of atoms. And they say every 6 months all the atoms in our body change. Change means they go. And the atoms of President Bush comes to you. Understand? And your atoms go and join with Osama bin Laden. Can you imagine in that state? So he takes all those atoms. So whether it is a Bush atom or a Osama bin Laden atom, they are all atoms only. There is no difference at all. So it's constantly flowing. And the atoms which constitute a Buddha or Mahavira or Shankaracharya or Socrates or Confucius, those atoms also come to you. They don't die. They are there. So we are a continuous stream of dancing atoms. Once we realize that, we are very, very porous. We are a stream of energy. Energy and consciousness. Consciousness riding on energy is you and I. That's how we have to understand ourselves. That's another way of making us see God is everywhere. Modern scientists try to make us see. They don't call it God, they call it energy. Atom, consciousness and matter. Energy. Riding or supporting each other. So Asurya Namate, you can go on and on this idea. This idea can be explained in many ways. Asurya Namate Loka Andhena Tapasavrata. So this world of darkness is, again, let me put it out, your own ego. Ego is the world of darkness. What is ego? Ego is this aggrandizing mode of consciousness. I need a state of consciousness, the clinging state of consciousness. And ego is a very limited world, and we are boxed into that, locked up in that. The world of ego is sunless world. No sun, no light at all. Sasurya namate logaha andhena tamasavridaha tante pratyabhigacchandi yakecha atmahano janaha. So according to the Rishi, we all are suicides because we are attached, clinging attachment to the body. Patanjali says avidya, asmida, ragadvesha, abhinivesha, he says. These are the 5 afflictions of humankind. 5 afflictions. First affliction is avidya, ignorance. I don't know. I ask you, do you know? I don't know. Why don't you know? How do I know? So I don't know is the beginning. I don't know, which is called avidya. And what you know is very little. What you don't know is vast. I don't know vidya. Then from I don't know comes asmida, ego. Limited perception. Limited visions. From ego comes ragadveshas, likes and dislikes. I like it, I dislike it. And from there comes extreme attachments, especially to the body. Extreme attachment to the body. Patanjali also talks about these afflictions. So when we say the darkness, let us give it a very wide meaning. Darkness is not that simple dark. Sudhya namate loka andhena tamasavrata tanste pratyabhigachanti tan yekecha atmahano jana. Continuing. Now having said all this, so the first sloka the Rishi said, God pervades everything, therefore renounce and rejoice. Nothing belongs to you, therefore you can be happy. There is no fear of losing, because our main fear is fear of losing, isn't it? I may lose my dear and near ones. I may lose my wealth, I may lose my name, I may lose my fame, I may lose my reputation, I may lose my life itself. Fear of losing, that's our main fear. Now that fear is gone, because we know we have nothing to lose, everything belongs to God, nothing can be fundamentally destroyed. Therefore, the fear of loss has to go. That's the first statement. Everything belongs to God. Then therefore, rejoice. Just dance and rejoice. Second, it was said, with their attitude work also. Rejoice means their work. Oh, we thought rejoice means then dance and then just lead a very idle life. No. When you have nothing to lose, when everything belongs to God, then to rejoice means to work, to do your duty. That's the rejoice. We have a very funny understanding of rejoice. What is rejoice? Do nothing, eat ice creams all the time, read newspapers, and then sit like that. That is not rejoicing. True rejoice is disciplining and expressing yourself. Expressing yourself creatively. Either rejoice, we are talking about. Simply sitting and enjoy. We all have that funny notion, oh, I will retire and rejoice. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. So rejoice means, that's why immediately the Rishi says, Karmani kurvanneva, do all your work, and then how many years I have to do? 100 years you have to do. I thought after 60 at least I can die and go. No. When you live like that 100 years, you have to rejoice, doing your work. So karmani kurvanneva jijivishet chatagum sama. So for hundreds of years you can live. And that's the only path, he said. Otherwise you will be trapped. You're already trapped. You're already in the trap. So be quiet. You're already in the ocean. When you are in the ocean, don't drink of the ocean. Isn't it? Don't drink of the ocean. If you drink of the ocean, you will feel more thirsty. The oceanic water cannot quench your thirst. And then don't wiggle in the ocean, because the sharks are there. They'll come and nibble at you. And once they taste your blood, they will gobble you up. So don't wiggle, don't wriggle, don't just remain quiet. Don't drink. That's meditation. Don't drink, don't wiggle, don't wriggle. Be quiet. And then you will be able to be saved. Some ship will come and save you from this ocean and the sufferings. So having said that, live a long life, otherwise you will come to live in a very dark, miserable life. Having said that, now here is a meditation upon the self. 3 slokas are a meditation upon the self. How do you meditate upon the self? To meditate upon the self, this verbal mind, the mind which is very verbose, mind is full of words, noise. That mind is to be tackled first. Mind always ask questions, seek answers, formulate further questions. This way, the mind is in a kind of roller coaster. That mind is to be quietened with the help of words. So 3 slokas to quieten your mind. Maybe 2 slokas to quieten your mind. And then 2 slokas to explain that quietened state of mind. How will that quietened state of mind will look? How will you experience that? So 2 to quieten the mind and 2 to